So, Test cricket is back. Cheers. Slainte. We are just concluding the first day of the England-Ireland Test, the first day of the English summer, the English Test cricket calendar, should I say. Mm-hmm. God, it's been a long time coming. Yep. You know I've had some dreary podcasts, haven't we, these last couple of times?
Yes, this is what you've been waiting for.
Yeah, I want to really thank Lawrence Booth for his time last week. If anyone caught that podcast, it was fantastic, albeit it was quite a sour note, wasn't it? Talking about the future of Test cricket, but you can't complain about the future of Test cricket, and then when Test cricket presents itself, reject it. You've got to embrace it. And I've just saw today what I love about cricket. At work, obviously, intermittent sort of check-ins of the scoring. Runs there, promise there. There's not been an awful lot wrong with today, but how have you found it?
It's good. The sun was shining. Mm-hmm. The pitch wasn't as green as last time we played Ireland at Lords.
Oh yeah. Jory wasn't happy, was he?
Yes, there wasn't a Tim Murtagh kind of running through us. We chose to bowl. Mm-hmm. Good decision. Mm-hmm. Broad got 5, Leach got 3, yep. Crawley got runs, Duckett got runs. Perfect day, really.
Yeah. So what's this you've got me here? You've demonstrated your new birthday present to me. Yes. Was it your birthday present?
Yeah, it was. Yes, it was off Nina's mum and dad.
So, explain to listeners and viewers what this actually is. So, we've not just got a can of Guinness, have we? It's not just a can of Guinness. No. It's describe it for me, because it tastes great.
So these are the Nitro Surge cans. I think they're about £25 a pop.
Yep.
You know, getting our sponsorship deal with Guinness.
Use discount 212 men and get 2 free non-Guinness glasses.
Yeah, but you need some special cans, but ultimately it gives you a bit of a draft-like Guinness.
Yeah.
So
it's really good. The only thing I could say is it's not quite cold enough.
Yeah, I know.
Because they've been in your cupboard, haven't they, for like the last 7 weeks?
That's not true. They were in the fridge for about 10 minutes. I was actually driving past back from Tesco. So I finished work promptly, drove to Tesco, got you these Guinness because you've been asking for them for weeks.
Well, I just thought it was a nice theme, wasn't it? Playing Ireland, Guinness.
Well, that's what I told you. You know, you wanted them about 3 weeks ago. We've held off for the right time. This is the right time.
Theme it. There's actually, unless you play South Africa or Australia, New Zealand, there's not loads of well, I suppose West Indies, you can get the red stripe out. It's not loads of alcohol opportunities that we thought there might be on the 212 men, was it? I visions of buying Indian wine and giving that a whirl and things like that, but
not to be. But I would say that playing a test match against Ireland is the best opportunity.
It is, yeah.
Fond of a Guinness.
I'm quite fond of this event, really, because, you know, we were trying to grow Test cricket and let it thrive.
Yeah.
I think giving Ireland the chance to have a test at Lords every year and play whichever side is touring. I think Niall O'Brien sort of mentioned this, that it was something as an aspiration of where he saw Ireland fitting into the Test calendar. Do you think that could happen?
Yeah. The world's gone for playing county warm-ups and stuff like that. So why not have a test against Ireland play Test cricket? You know, realistically, if the World Test Championship final wasn't on next week, it'd be great if the Australians played the Irish at the Oval or something like that. So yeah, I agree.
And let's see how they're faring. The Guinness is good at Lords, by the way. We had that last year. It was decent standard, wasn't it? Yeah. Anyway, enough for Guinness. Let's have a look at the teams, the way they lined up today. So what did we find? What did we see when we the first teams were unravelled?
Controversy before the match was there was no Josh Little. Ireland have obviously taken the opportunity to rest Josh. I think probably wisely so in some respects, in terms of he's had a long IPL. They've got some 50 over World Cup qualifiers coming up this summer. Take a bit of workload off him. It is a shame. It's I suppose shame. Shows the reality of where the world is in terms of Test cricket and franchise priorities. But I don't think you can look too harshly on Ireland or the player for making that decision, because they have to make the decision that's best for them.
For listeners that might not be aware of Josh Little, really bursted onto the scene from a white ball perspective for Ireland, hasn't he? He's bagged himself an IPI deal for Gujarat, isn't it? Yeah. He's earned up to the equivalent in Indian money to euros, £500,000 just for whatever 8 weeks work. Funnily enough, I think I saw Niall O'Brien tweet something actually on. He said that Cricket Ireland didn't tweet anything about their player playing in the final of the IPL, the biggest domestic cricket match that there is. I mean, this guy's left arm, he can crank up to 90 miles per hour. Yeah. He has been a serious find, hasn't he? And he's now put himself on the world stage and he's being recognised. You can bet your darnest that come the next IPL auction, come the next sort of big franchise tournament, he's going to be up there on the shopping list, isn't he?
Yeah, and like I said before, it is a damn shame that he's not playing in this test match. But how can you put a player down for taking those opportunities? How often, apart from Owen Morgan, Irish players haven't really played in the IPL ever.
They've sort of passed. What's clear now is that and Tim Wigmore said this when we had him on the show, and he talked about crickonomics, is that franchise cricket does create opportunities when there's disparage in international cricket.
Yeah.
The Irish Cricket Board, have gone on to say, excuse me, that this fixture against England is not a pinnacle event.
Yeah.
Their priority lies with some of the World Cup qualifications coming up in the coming months. So as much as we're romance about Test cricket and we love the occasion, it's Lords, so there's champagne out, there's Guinness today, I'm sure there's big green hats and things like that. It's seen more as an occasional thing for Ireland as opposed to something that they need to win and take seriously. And even a cricket board of that side is now prioritising their top talent away from Test cricket.
I think in some ways probably that quote of "this isn't a pinnacle event" is said as much to make a point as is the reality, in the sense that this is what lower associate nations have to deal with in terms of the way that the system is built, the revenue sharing, the cost of playing a test match, everything else that's against them. They're probably sticking the oar in a bit and saying, well, this against England at Lords isn't a pinnacle event because of the way that the system's built.
I mean, we could argue and say, come on, we're putting Ireland on the stage here, playing a test match. But I think I read something that several county teams, and we saw this when we spoke to Bertus de Jong from the Netherlands cricket perspective, counties are refusing to release players to play for the Netherlands. Yeah. So international cricket, as we know, is this one big kind of, it's becoming a monopoly, I suppose, with India, what we spoke about last week. But like we said, there's clear disparity there between powers, and I think that's bearing fruit now with the emergence of outside sort of opportunities that come into it. So that's a shame. I think it would have been nice to have, especially with the Aussies coming over, it'd been nice to have Josh Little's pace.
Yeah.
Come up against, obviously, the likes of England's attack. The way it's finished the game today, England look like they're going to run clear sail of Ireland's total of around 160, was it?
Yes, 170.
170.
Put on. England are 150 at the moment. Runs from Duckett, runs from Crawley. We'll get onto that, I suppose. Let's talk about England and the way that it's set up. First of all, I suppose it's commiserations for you.
You've won the battle.
I have won the battle. I'd say I probably won the war on this one.
I know. Time will tell, won't it? But it's kind of, like I said to you, I think on a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, we are, for those who haven't followed our shows, we've for long been different on the Bairstow Foakes situation, and England have obviously very bold, and they've included Ben Foakes in the squad, have they? So it's a real clinical sort of drop in there. Yeah. The crazy thing is, it's like a film quote, isn't it? It just might work.
Yeah.
It probably will work. It'll probably make sense after a few games. People cried about putting Ollie Pope to free, didn't they? Saying he doesn't bat there for Surrey. Now you just won't have anyone different there, would you?
I was one of them as well.
Exactly. So the Baz Ball, Brendan McCullum, Stokes kind of fusion continues to sort of bulldoze opinions left, right, and centre, doesn't it? So Bairstow's got the gloves,
and it's really exciting, isn't it? When you think about where we are in this game.
Yeah.
150 for one.
Crawley's been caught on board.
Crawley's gone, that's it. So tomorrow we start 10 adrift of Ireland, and you've got Root to come in, Brook to come in, Stokes to come in, Bairstow to come in.
Yeah.
Do you know, if you're 50 ahead when Root comes in, it's just teeing off time, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I heard something from Phil Tufnell while I was driving home from getting you Guinness, saying that he wants to. There's been talk of winning this test in 2 days. I think that's a bit disrespectful.
What, they've kind of set the stall out to do that?
Yeah. I think you've got to take all these games seriously. It's not piss about, is it? But
I think last time they played Ireland, it was a little bit more hairy than they expected, wasn't it? I think Joe Root, like I said, criticised the pitch. There was wickets tumbling. Tim Murtagh got a 5 for his name on the board, which was great for him. But the kind of way England play now with this no fear, Baz Ball kind of positivity, it's a really good way to sort of play lesser teams, I think. You know what I mean? It's a way where you can completely bulldoze them out the game.
Domineering, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? This is how they're not going to grind it out and and bore them. I don't. We'll get into preparation and teams in a minute, but it looks like on paper this is a fairly feeble sort of Ireland attack, doesn't it? You've been a bit critical of the bowling today, haven't you?
Yeah, I think that it's a better. It looks like a better Irish batting lineup than last time we played them.
Yeah, Paul Sterling opening last time. I know he's in the squad. He's coming in about 5 or 6, isn't he? But last time he came out and swung from his helmet a little bit, didn't he? And
there's Tucker in there.
Yeah.
They are a
Balburney, of course, is the skipper.
Balburney,
yeah. Good man. Like what you have to say about the game.
Yeah, they're a decent competitive batting lineup. I just thought the bowling had elements of kind of county. I suppose what we've been criticised for in the past as an English team of dibbly-dobbling it around, not loads of pace, and there were lots of wayward deliveries for Duckett and Crawley. But I mean, that's how you get your eye in sometimes, isn't it? As you play a lesser side, you get some runs, you get some confidence. I think it's good preparation for us.
It's also that I think they're on the receiving end of an absolutely tuned in Stuart Broad. We said it time and time again. We both believe this will be Stuart Broad's last dance.
Yeah,
his swan song. He's been so vocal on social media.
Yeah.
He will be taking this fixture completely serious when it hits his warm up. He's been playing a lot for Notts, hasn't he?
This is when Broad's at his best.
Yeah.
I was doing a little tally up, and this realistically is with. I mean, we need to come on to Tong. We've missed Tong slightly.
Tong Greek will be Bolton.
No, Tong the bowler who's playing today.
My dad's back bowling. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
There's footage of my dad bowling.
Oh, footage? No,
he's been playing cricket.
He was telling us at the football the other week that he was playing for Lancashire.
We'll share his bowling video on our channel and see what people think.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'll put that on Instagram.
Yeah. Broad.
Right. Yeah, sorry, Broad. So I think this is when Broad's at his best. I think this realistically is a third string lineup for us. If you think Anderson, Robinson, Archer, Woke, Stone, Wood, there's loads
Stone's played?
No, there's loads of bowls that be ahead of Potts and Tom.
Yeah.
And I think Broad's at his best when he's leading the attack. He's the main man. He gets a 5 for 20th of his career.
Yeah.
Broad bowls best when Anderson's not around.
Yeah.
It's kind of going to be the great irony of his career, really, isn't it?
Of course it is, yeah.
Constantly overshadowed, but yeah, brilliant. And I thought more than anything today.
It's so pride for summer, isn't it? Wearing white headbands, David Warner. It's
wet
in my beak today. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's he will do everything to win this Ashes.
Yeah.
And he'll do everything to play every test. I think it's perfect, really.
Brilliant.
It's almost like when Warren came over in 2005. It's a bit of a tangent, but when Warren came over in 2005, it was his last Ashes in England. He was the charisma.
Yeah.
He was the big man. It's similar with Broad.
It's what Lawrence said last week, and he summed it up so well. Test cricket is about stories and characters, isn't it, and narratives. And this is what Test cricket brings us. We're playing in a fairly exhibitionary match against Ireland, and already we're looking at the presence people are bringing, their attitudes, their attributes.
Yeah.
How do you think the new lad fared? It's Josh Tong, isn't it?
I think it's Josh Tong. I have been wanting to call him Josh
I'm one of these
Tong.
people because, you see, I always focus on second names.
Yeah.
I was one of these people that for many years struggled to shake off Joss and Josh.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But how do you think he fared?
He was decent. He bowled with pace. He got it up to 90 miles an hour at times.
Promising.
He looks like a strong lad. It has a bit of like a plunkett to him almost. Bowls a heavy ball. Doesn't look maybe as quick as it looks on the speed gun. I think he's useful. I'd be surprised if he plays in the Ashes when you've got Wood and then the rest of them who can do a job in different ways.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really promising, and it felt like when I looked at our team today, there was an evolution of what the side will become.
Well, it feels a bit auditionary, doesn't it? A bit like, the old guard are going to come out in the summer. They're on borrowed time, as we know. Yeah. Is it audition phase? Do you expect us to sort of debutant a few more bowlers in the coming years? Coming months after the Ashes, I suppose. The next round of Test fixtures.
I think that Potts is definitely there and thereabouts. I think Tong is an option when Stone, Wood, and Archer aren't fit. Robinson's obviously a shoe-in.
Yeah.
He's the heir to the kind of
rested his ankles today, haven't they?
Yeah.
I think I'm backing Ollie Robinson to be the bowler of the tournament in the Ashes.
Yeah.
He's got a big year ahead of him. I think he's another one who's up for it, but he has had a leaky ankle, hasn't he, I believe?
Yeah, it's almost this Ashes series is you've got Broad, it's his last Ashes when he could be most dangerous when the narrative's there for him.
Yeah.
Anderson as still the best in the world for me in England.
Yeah. knows it.
You need him. You just need him.
Yeah.
And then you've got Robinson, who seems to be the one who's kind of coming up as probably the number one seam bowler in the world.
And I think there's a bit of him where he's got redemption because he had a pretty poor Australia tour.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
And I think he'll be doing everything in his power to bring that back. He's another one who's been chirping quite a bit, isn't he?
And they have three very English-style bowlers, but I think it's really hard not to play all three of them at times.
Yeah.
So I think that this was a nice time to just plug some players in, get some miles into, get some overs into Broad's legs, let them have a go at Lords, kind of see what the new crop are going to do. Yeah, it felt like the perfect day. And then,
I don't want to bang on about the Ollie Robinson thing, but I'm generally backing him this year to have a really storming Ashes. I think he got a bit irked by Mark Waugh, who sort of compared him to Gus Fraser. Not that there's anything wrong with Gus Fraser, but he was known to be being quite medium pace, almost a little bit like that. And I think a lot of people sometimes have poked at Robinson's pace, haven't they, a little bit? But his accuracy and his stats in England are frightening, aren't they?
He's almost like a Mohammed Abbas.
Yeah.
It might look slow, or a bit pedestrian at times, but it doesn't matter because the skill's there to back it up.
Get you in bother, won't it?
Yeah, it will. And then finally, I think one person who really needs to mention today is my man Jack Leach. 3 for. And I think that one thing that Jack Leach shows is when faith is put in him, he really repairs it. And today he was the second in command of the bowling attack.
Yeah.
On really early. I think he was on in the 14th over and bowled really well.
Yeah.
3 wickets.
Yeah.
You just can't. He's becoming just not undroppable.
Yeah.
But he's becoming a regular in the team where you don't ask the questions that you used to ask anymore.
Were you surprised to see Rehan Ahmed not involved at some capacity?
No. He's batted really well this summer. He's not bowled loads for Leicestershire.
Will he feature in the Ashes?
No.
I'm not sure he will,
No, I don't think he will. I think he'll feature in India later in the year, but I don't think he'll feature him.
No, like you said, Jack Leach is certainly benefiting now from being backed. He's very well liked in this squad. I think he's got a very good relationship with Stokes. So, again, I expect him to certainly play a part in the Ashes, and he's already played a part in this Test match. So, what I want to ask you about, this was always going to be a little bit of a shorter podcast because it's hard to put 40 minutes into one day, albeit it's been an enjoyable day. Where we look at the preparation now, I am privy to knowing that the Australian team are playing a lot of golf. They're playing in Formby. The guy who coaches me has been coaching Steve Smith, so make of that what you will.
Right.
They look to be having a leisurely time, and they've got World Test Championship coming up, which we'll be attending. And England are playing Ireland. So where do you think this sits in terms of preparation for both sides going into the Ashes?
Sorry, you really got me there.
Why?
Just the line, I am privy, like as if everyone didn't know they were playing golf.
Well,
I
must admit, I got a selfie from my golf coach, Neil Brazil. He's a very good friend of mine. And he was with Marnus Labuschagne and Steve Smith. He says they're great chaps, to be honest.
No, I'm sure they are. He just got me. He got me.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were the questions?
One's if Steve Smith could be the next me at golf.
Yeah.
Think about that.
I know. Yeah.
I played well in Portugal, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah,
I thought you lost.
I lost the first day because I was really hungover, but then I played Nick Faldo's course a bit further down the road.
Yeah.
That's a lot harder, and I rose my game there.
Right.
But yeah, that's good.
What was the question?
Who's had the better prep?
I think Australia got the better prep.
One solemn Test match against India. Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? The stakes are high. What's really funny about this is I think it's so low on the priority in reverse to the Ashes.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be the pinnacle of the
I know. It's
format.
a shame. It is a shame.
This is why our roadshow really needs to take off.
Get the roadshow up and running. I think they've got the better prep. India are obviously a miles better side than Ireland. It's a competitive match with a clear outcome. It's at the Oval. Not that that makes any difference whatsoever.
Well, the good thing is, I think India have been starved of success.
Yeah.
Although they've been like number ones in the world, they've been pretty average in lackluster in ICC tournaments, haven't they? They've fallen short. They got annihilated by England in Australia.
They've got to the World Test Championship final twice.
Yes, I get that, but they're without wins, and I think there's more motivation for for India to win this than there is Australia. Australia will have one eye in the Ashes. They'll be hoping just to. What I'm saying is, do you think they can raise the game for both of these events?
See, the way I would put it is, I think Australia will be on their A game because they've got an Ashes coming, and this is the first test of a really big
summer for them.
6 tests for them. India have just come off the high of the IPL.
Is that really an international high though?
It's it's a really long tournament, and
cricket fever's there. I mean, cricket fever's always
when
there.
you look at that final, Shubman Gill was in that final. He had an incredible.
You're
IPL.
really excited about Shubman Gill, aren't you?
Yeah, he had an incredible IPL. He didn't win the IPL. That'll be a bit of a come down.
You get
for him.
the cap or whatever you get, or the belt. What do you get in this tournament?
You get caps. You got the caps for the most runs, right. The orange cap or whatever it is.
It's a bit cheap, isn't it?
But I think it'll be a bit of a come down for India and Australia on the rise. I think it's the perfect preparation for an Ashes Test match, and I think Australia. The more time goes on, the more I think Australia are a really good side, and we've just been.
You were telling me they were over the hill a few months ago.
I know, but I'm getting scared again.
I think that's just your pre-Ashes fever kicking in.
Yeah, but
you need like a dose of like what Stuart Broad's drinking.
Have you seen the some of the wickets that Smith's got out to? You've seen them?
Yeah.
They've never been out once.
Yeah.
He's going to be not out the whole English summer.
I heard it at the Grey Cricketer. They said something funny like, "Who the hell is making this footage?" It's like when he's out, it's like there's like a very like stagnant test match between like whatever Gloucestershire and Sussex, and the highlight is just Steve Smith getting out. Yeah. It's like that's the whole highlight of the game. Forget the county fixture. It's that we are a little bit. I think because we've had so many years of like nightmare and torture from Steve Smith. I think we take a lot of pleasure in like a soft dismissal from him. I think that's quite a nice tonic, isn't it?
Yeah, but none of them have been out. They've all been like LBWs going over the wickets.
It can't be the same Steve Smith as it was a few years ago, can it? Surely.
It could be.
There's chinks in the armour now. Surely.
Remember when we went Old Trafford?
Oh, that freezing cold day. We were rough.
Horrible day.
So put it into perspective for listeners, we've been out on the beers the night before. We met that guy. It was like that John Lennon type guy in the bar, and it was a typical Manchester summer's day. It was cold. We were freezing, and we endured Steve Smith batting to get 200 odd.
Yeah, Jack Leach got him out on a no ball.
Jack Leach got him out on a no ball. Did we drop him a few times as well?
Yeah, it's some of the most depressing cricket I've ever watched.
Pretty arduous day, but whether that player will return. He's had a few years in him now. Labuschagne seems to be the new pin-up boy.
Yeah.
We're going to get problems, I think. I don't think it's going to be as straightforward as bowling them all out, but England are in the run of form, but you think Australia are a better team, don't you?
I think England have the form, Australia are the better side. It's a really even contest.
Yeah.
Our plan next week?
Well, we've got a fair few things going on. I mean, you saw our last interview of Lawrence Booth about the future of Test cricket. We've got some more interviews lined up. You'll be pleased to know if you're a follower of this channel, and thank you very much if you are. But we're actually going to have a bit of a field trip, aren't we?
Yeah.
That's very American of me. We've got a trip out. We're going to both go for a few nights into London. We've got tickets for the World Test Championship at the Oval between India and Australia. What are you thinking?
I think, we should all hope that India win. Because it's, good prep for the Ashes. Gives us a chance of keeping Test cricket alive.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Australia bowling at India. I think that'd be good. Australia's, India have got the more flamboyant batsmen. Gill, Kohli, Rahane.
Last time we'll see Kohli in England?
Maybe, yes. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, could be. Cummins, Stark. Hazelwood. I think Hazelwood's injured, isn't he?
A lot of the world's best bowlers we would put in that category. The Hazelwoods, Bumrahs, Archers, struggling in fitness, aren't they?
Yeah,
it's a worrying time for test bowlers, and how much longevity is in this format for them.
Yeah, and then Jadeja and Ashwin. Would you play them both? I would.
Well, is it the banging on about being early summer and it's still turning quite a bit, so we'll see.
It's been dry. It's been warm.
Yeah.
Predictions.
I think that India will win. I think India, like I said earlier, they've been starved of genuine success and lifting trophies. They'll want to lift it. Australia will certainly put up a good match, but I feel that they'll be a little bit rusty coming off the golf course. Like you said, a lot of Indians have been playing lots of cricket.
Yeah.
In the IPL.
Kohli's been here for a few weeks now, I think. As soon as he finished the IPL, came across. Come on, India.
Should we do a cheers?
Cheers.
We'll see you guys soon. Take care. We're the 212 men.
Cheers.